this. She's answered them all. She said she's very happy to answer any further questions from the police or from any of the authorities. I don't need to see the legal advice. My team has seen it. But I will say this, that on the day that the A&E figures, people waiting more than 24 hours in A&E, we now know that they're 10 times as high as they were 5 years ago. The idea that the Tories want to be focusing on what Angela Rayner, how much time she spent with her ex-husband 10 years ago, I can tell you here, at this hospital, nobody is interested in that. They're very, very interested in what are you going to...
Starmer guilty. Starmer in tears after judge proclaims his final verdict during trial. In a stunning development, the Metropolitan Police have made an arrest in connection with the fire that occurred at the former residence of Labour leader Keir Starmer. The individual, whose identity has not yet been disclosed, has been charged with multiple counts of arson, including 3 separate incidents. This news has sent ripples through the political landscape, raising urgent questions about the motivations behind the attack. The incident at Starmer's former home has sparked widespread speculation regarding whether it was a targeted act or merely a coincidence. The police have not released details that might clarify the intent behind the fire, leaving the public and political commentators to ponder the implications of such an attack on a prominent political figure. As the investigation unfolds, many are reflecting on the broader context of safety and security for public officials. The nature of the attack raises concerns about the atmosphere of political hostility that has been palpable in recent years. Critics argue that such incidents highlight a troubling trend in which political figures are increasingly at risk of violence or intimidation. This arrest comes at a time when the public is becoming increasingly aware of the disparities in policing and justice. Many commentators have noted that the swift action taken by the police in this case stands in stark contrast to the experiences of ordinary citizens who often struggle to get police attention for their own grievances. The perception of a two-tier system within law enforcement is growing, leading to calls for reform and greater accountability. Political analysts are watching the situation closely, eager to understand the potential ramifications of this incident for Starmer and the Labour Party. While Starmer has not yet made a formal statement regarding the arrest, sources close to him indicate that he is relieved by the news, but remains deeply concerned about the implications of such violence in political discourse. The Labour leader has faced significant challenges since taking on the role, including navigating internal party divisions and addressing public concerns over various policy issues. The attack on his former residence adds another layer of complexity to his leadership, as it underscores the precarious nature of political life in a climate where tensions are running high. As discussions continue, the incident has prompted a renewed focus on the safety of public officials and the need for enhanced security measures. Many are calling for a thorough review of how political figures are protected, especially in light of increasing threats to their safety. This includes not only physical security, but also support systems for dealing with harassment and intimidation. In the wake of this arrest, some members of Parliament are urging their colleagues to come together across party lines to condemn violence in politics. This sentiment reflects a desire for unity in the face of threats that undermine democratic processes. The hope is that by standing together, lawmakers can send a strong message that such violence will not be tolerated. Moreover, the incident raises important questions about the role of rhetoric in political discourse. As political tensions escalate, the potential for inflammatory language to incite violence becomes a pressing concern. Commentators are urging politicians to be mindful of their words and to promote a culture of respect and civility in political discussions. As more details emerge from the investigation, public interest in the case is likely to grow. The police have indicated that they will continue to investigate the circumstances surrounding the fire, and any new revelations could further shape the narrative. The ongoing coverage of this story will undoubtedly keep it in the public eye, as citizens seek to understand the full scope of what transpired. In conclusion, the arrest in connection with the fire at Starmer's former residence is a significant development that underscores the complexities of political life in the UK today. As the investigation unfolds, it will be crucial for both law enforcement and political leaders to address the underlying issues that contribute to such acts of violence. The hope is that this incident will serve as a catalyst for meaningful discussions about safety, accountability, and the need for a more respectful political climate. As the story develops, it will be essential for all stakeholders to engage in constructive dialogue and to work towards a future where political discourse can thrive without fear of violence or intimidation. The path ahead may be challenging, but the commitment to uphold democratic values and protect those who serve in public office must remain steadfast. In a significant development, the Metropolitan Police have arrested an individual linked to the fire at the former residence of Labour leader Keir Starmer. The suspect, whose identity is still under wraps, faces multiple counts of arson related to 3 distinct incidents. This event has ignited intense discussions across the political landscape, prompting questions about the motivations behind the attack. The fire has led to widespread speculation regarding whether it was a deliberate act targeting Starmer or a mere coincidence. The police have yet to provide clarity on the intent, leaving commentators and the public to grapple with the implications of such violence against a high-profile political figure. This incident highlights growing concerns about the safety of public officials in a climate increasingly marked by political hostility. Critics argue that attacks on politicians are becoming alarmingly common, raising fears of violence and intimidation in political discourse. The swift police response contrasts sharply with the experiences of ordinary citizens, who often struggle to garner attention for their grievances. This disparity has fueled perceptions of a two-tier system within law enforcement, prompting calls for reform and greater accountability. While Starmer has not publicly commented on the arrest, insiders report he feels relieved yet troubled by the implications of such violence. His leadership already faces significant challenges, and the attack on his former home adds another layer of complexity to his role amid ongoing internal party divisions and public scrutiny. In the aftermath of the arrest, some members of Parliament are advocating for a bipartisan condemnation of violence in politics. This reflects a collective desire for unity in safeguarding democratic processes against threats and intimidation. As political tensions rise, commentators warn of the potential for inflammatory rhetoric to incite violence. There is a growing call for politicians to promote civility and respect in discourse, emphasizing the importance of responsible communication. As the investigation continues, public interest in the case will likely intensify. The police have committed to uncovering the circumstances surrounding the fire, and new developments could further shape the narrative. In conclusion, the arrest linked to the fire at Starmer's former residence underscores the complexities of political life in the UK. It serves as a catalyst for discussions on safety, accountability, and the necessity for a more respectful political climate. Stakeholders must engage in constructive dialogue to ensure that democracy can thrive free from the threat of violence. In a significant development, the Metropolitan Police have arrested an individual linked to the fire at the former residence of Labour leader Keir Starmer. The suspect, whose identity is still under wraps, faces multiple counts of arson related to 3 distinct incidents. This event has ignited intense discussions across the political landscape, prompting questions about the motivations behind the attack. The fire has led to widespread speculation regarding whether it was a deliberate act targeting Starmer or a mere coincidence. The police have yet to provide clarity on the intent, leaving commentators and the public to grapple with the implications of such violence against a high-profile political figure. This incident highlights growing concerns about the safety of public officials in a climate increasingly marked by political hostility. Critics argue that attacks on politicians are becoming alarmingly common, raising fears of violence and intimidation in political discourse. The swift police response contrasts sharply with the experiences of ordinary citizens, who often struggle to garner attention for their grievances. This disparity has fueled perceptions of a two-tier system within law enforcement, prompting calls for reform and greater accountability. While Starmer has not publicly commented on the arrest, insiders report he feels relieved yet troubled by the implications of such violence. His leadership already faces significant challenges, and the attack on his former home adds another layer of complexity to his role amid ongoing internal party divisions and public scrutiny. In the aftermath of the arrest, some members of Parliament are advocating for a bipartisan condemnation of violence in politics. This reflects a collective desire for unity in safeguarding democratic processes against threats and intimidation. As political tensions rise, commentators warn of the potential for inflammatory rhetoric to incite violence. There is a growing call for politicians to promote civility and respect in discourse, emphasizing the importance of responsible communication. As the investigation continues, public interest in the case will likely intensify. The police have committed to uncovering the circumstances surrounding the fire, and new developments could further shape the narrative. In conclusion, the arrest linked to the fire at Starmer's former residence underscores the complexities of Poli. Furthermore, grassroots movements and advocacy groups are increasingly calling for reforms that address the systemic issues contributing to political violence. These organizations emphasize the importance of creating safe spaces for political engagement, where individuals can express their views without facing threats or intimidation. Initiatives aimed at educating the public about the impact of political violence and promoting civic responsibility can help to cultivate a more respectful political culture. As the investigation into the fire progresses, it serves as a critical opportunity for reflection and action. The hope is that this incident will not only lead to justice for the affected parties, but also inspire meaningful discussions about the future of political engagement in the UK. By fostering an environment that prioritizes safety, respect, and accountability, stakeholders can work together to strengthen democratic values and ensure that political discourse remains vibrant and inclusive. In conclusion, the arrest linked to the fire at Starmer's former residence highlights the urgent need for a cultural shift in politics. It calls for a collective commitment to safeguard the integrity of political discourse and protect those who serve in public office. As the narrative evolves, the focus should remain on fostering unity and respect, paving the way for a political landscape where diverse voices can thrive free from fear and hostility. The challenge ahead is significant, but the commitment to uphold democratic principles must remain steadfast. The internal dissent within the Labour Party is reminiscent of past struggles, where leadership faced significant pushback from grassroots members. Historically, Labour has thrived when it has embraced its core values of solidarity and inclusivity. As the party grapples with its identity, the question remains, can it find a way to address public concerns about immigration without compromising its foundational principles? The looming general election adds an extra layer of urgency to these discussions. Starmer's leadership will be scrutinized as the party seeks to regain ground lost to the Conservatives. If Labour is to present a united front, it must engage in meaningful dialogue with its members and address their concerns about the party's direction. As the immigration debate heats up, supporters are calling for a return to a more progressive stance. Many argue that Labour should advocate for a system that recognizes the contributions of migrants and provides pathways for asylum seekers. There is a growing belief that a compassionate approach to immigration will resonate with voters, particularly those who value diversity and inclusion. Starmer's challenge will be to articulate a vision that balances the need for security with the values of compassion and fairness. This requires not only listening to the voices within the party, but also engaging with the broader public to understand their concerns. By doing so, Labour can position itself as a party that not only listens, but also leads on issues of immigration in a way that is both principled and pragmatic. In summary, the recent backlash against Starmer's immigration white paper underscores deep divisions within the Labour Party. As the party navigates this tumultuous political landscape, it must find a way to address public concerns without abandoning its core values. The path forward will require careful consideration, strategic communication, and a commitment to inclusivity that resonates with both party members and the wider electorate. The coming months will be critical as Labour seeks to redefine its identity and prepare for a challenging electoral landscape. As the immigration white paper fallout deepens, Keir Starmer's leadership faces unprecedented scrutiny. Many within the Labour Party feel increasingly alienated, believing that the shift towards stricter immigration policies runs counter to the party's historical values. The backlash is not merely an online phenomenon. It reflects a broader crisis of confidence among party members who fear that Labour is drifting away from its roots of inclusivity and social justice. Supporters who once rallied behind Starmer are now questioning his ability to unite the party and effectively address complex issues surrounding immigration. The fear is palpable. If Labour continues to adopt right-wing narratives, it risks losing its distinctive voice in British politics. Activists are particularly vocal, arguing that the party should prioritize a compassionate approach, advocating for the rights and contributions of migrants rather than framing them as a problem. This internal dissent is compounded by concerns about the political ramifications of Starmer's new approach. By aligning with stricter immigration policies, Starmer may inadvertently validate the very narratives that have fueled anti-immigrant sentiment in the UK. Critics argue that this strategy could alienate not only traditional Labour supporters, but also sway undecided voters who value humanitarian approaches to immigration. The logistical challenges presented by the white paper are significant. Many experts contend that simply tightening immigration rules will not effectively address the complex drivers of illegal migration, such as global inequality and conflict. The proposed reforms focus narrowly on reducing numbers, neglecting the systemic issues that compel individuals to seek refuge or better opportunities in the UK. This oversight raises questions about the effectiveness and fairness of the proposed measures. Furthermore, the timing of the white paper's release has been criticized as politically motivated. Coming on the heels of increased illegal crossings, the document appears to respond more to public outcry than to a well-thought-out immigration strategy. This reactive approach could undermine public trust in Labour's ability to govern effectively and empathetically data as Labour heads toward the next general election. The stakes are higher than ever. Starmer must articulate a coherent vision that resonates with both the electorate and the party's base. The challenge lies in balancing the need for strong immigration controls with the party's commitment to social justice. A failure to navigate this complex landscape could lead to a significant loss of support, both from within the party and among potential voters. The internal debate over immigration is emblematic of larger questions facing Labour. What does it mean to be a progressive party in today's political climate? How can Labour maintain its principles while addressing legitimate public concerns? Many supporters are advocating for a return to a more inclusive stance on immigration, arguing that a compassionate policy not only aligns with Labour values, but also has the potential to attract a wider range of voters.